He had it all: wealth, power, and influence. At the peak of his success, he was considered untouchable, a billionaire admired by many. But even the most powerful empires have cracks beneath the surface, and his journey was about to take a dramatic turn. At first, everything seemed perfect. Business deals flourished, investments paid off, and every decision appeared flawless. The world celebrated his genius, and he reveled in the glory, confident that nothing could stop him. But beneath the surface, small mistakes and overlooked risks began to accumulate like hidden cracks in a dam, unnoticed but growing stronger every day. As time passed, the first signs of trouble emerged. Decisions that once seemed brilliant started to show their flaws. Risky investments, poorly evaluated contracts, and overconfidence began to take their toll. Small errors that were once ignored now piled up, like loose pieces of a puzzle about to collapse. He maintained the image of absolute success, but behind the scenes, problems quietly multiplied. Business partners began questioning his strategies, and opportunities that once seemed certain transformed into risks. The early financial losses appeared discreetly, but were significant. Arrogance and haste, which had propelled him to the top, now became traps. Every decision carried heavier weight, and the sense of invincibility began to fade. The empire that once seemed solid was starting to show cracks, and the storm to come would be greater than any challenge he had faced. Then the collapse came. Contracts failed, investments plummeted, and debts multiplied unexpectedly. The empire he had built with so much effort began to crumble before his eyes. The media did not forgive. News of his losses spread rapidly, turning prestige into public shame. Friends withdrew, and longtime allies questioned his ability to lead. The luxury life gave way to uncertainty and doubt. Every decision seemed to worsen the situation, and the sense of control disappeared. Surrounded by problems he could not solve alone, he realized that wealth, which once seemed indestructible, could vanish in days. The consequences were immediate and merciless. Prestige faded, the image of unshakable success fractured, and friends disappeared, some out of embarrassment, others out of fear of being dragged down with him. Business allies questioned every move, and the pressure grew daily. Fame, which once meant power, became a heavy burden. He faced not only financial losses, but also the distancing of loved ones, public criticism, and the crushing feeling of being alone as his empire fell apart. He had reached rock bottom. It wasn't just about losing money or status. It was the loneliness, the disbelief, and the helplessness before everything he had built. Friends were distant, family worried, and the media scrutinized each misstep, turning his life into a public nightmare. Confidence that once had been unshakable had vanished. Each decision, no matter how small, was taken with fear of making things worse. Pride and arrogance gave way to forced humility. Learning to cope with pain, acknowledge mistakes, and accept help became essential. The bottom, though dark, offered a unique opportunity, the chance to start anew with wisdom and resilience. In the silence following the storm, he finally had time to reflect on his successes and failures. Every impulsive choice, every risky bet, and every moment of arrogance became a valuable lesson. He realized that true wealth is not measured only in money, but in wisdom, discipline, and the ability to learn from failure. He analyzed each step he had taken, identifying patterns and understanding where pride had led him astray. The painful fall revealed a fundamental truth. Greatness comes not from accumulating possessions, but from the ability to rise again after defeat. This reflection was not just intellectual, it was emotional and practical. He needed to rebuild not just his fortune, but his worldview, business strategy, and confidence. Each lesson learned became a tool, ready to be applied in the new phase that was beginning. Starting over was not easy. Without the financial support he once had, he often began from absolute zero.
Every step required creativity, courage, and patience. He sought opportunities that were real, sustainable, and could be built with limited resources. Humility became his ally. He learned to value each small achievement and not to underestimate the power of strategic, calculated moves. Every day was a battle against the past, against doubt, and against external pressure. Even amidst difficulties, he kept a vision of the future. Every effort, calculated risk, and sacrifice was part of a bigger plan. The goal was not just to rebuild wealth, but to create something solid, lasting, and resilient. Something that could not be shaken by past mistakes. Step by step, he began to lay the foundations of what would later become an even stronger and more conscious empire.
When reconstruction seemed slow, a new idea emerged, an idea that would change everything. It was not just another business, it was innovative, different from anything he had done before, and directly addressed a real market need. He studied, analyzed, and refined every detail. Past experience allowed him to avoid mistakes that had nearly destroyed him before. Each step was calculated, each risk carefully considered. Passion returned, and with it confidence that he could turn the vision into reality. The project started small, but with strategic planning and dedication, it quickly gained traction. Smart partnerships, effective communication, and flawless execution helped the idea gain strength and recognition. This initiative not only brought financial growth, but also established a solid foundation for what was to come, the spark that would ignite the next phase of his journey, the climb back to the top. The path was not without obstacles. Investors were skeptical, competitors tried to undermine progress, and past criticisms echoed in media and online. But he was different now, wiser, more cautious and resilient. Each rejection became a lesson, each criticism a motivation. He understood that success required patience and perseverance, and victory only comes to those who can withstand pressure and move forward, even when everything seems against them. Step by step, barrier by barrier, he advanced. Carefully planned strategies, decisions rooted in experience, and a clear vision kept him steady. Determination became his greatest ally, and confidence, built on overcoming past mistakes, began to open doors that once seemed impossible. Reconstruction was no longer just survival, it was true ascension. The fruits of his efforts began to appear. Projects that were once risky now yielded positive results. Doubting investors started believing again, and strategic partners returned with renewed confidence. Recognition did not come immediately, but it was evident in every contract signed, every partnership established, and every small success that solidified the project. He finally felt the tide changing, and the days of uncertainty began to give way to a path of sustainable success. Even amid criticisms and old challenges, persistence and experience allowed him to make wiser decisions, minimizing risks and seizing opportunities that might have been missed before. The signs of return became clear. Reconstruction was solid, and the path to the top was finally visible. Finally, he reached the top again. It was not just a financial comeback, but a reclamation of reputation, confidence, and vision. Every decision was now informed by lessons learned from the fall, making him more strategic, prudent, yet bold. The market recognized him once more, and the impact of his actions became evident quickly. Successful projects multiplied, solid alliances formed, and the media highlighted his remarkable recovery. Beyond money, he regained respect, credibility, and the certainty that he could overcome any adversity. His journey of ups and downs served as a constant reminder that true wealth is not only in material possessions, but in inner strength, resilience, and the ability to learn from mistakes. At the renewed peak of his empire, he was more prepared than ever for what lay ahead. With the top regained, he began looking beyond personal success. His goal now was to leave a legacy that could inspire and transform others. Every project was designed with social impact, innovation, and sustainability in mind.
He shared his experiences, mentored young entrepreneurs, and contributed to causes he believed in, using his story as proof that it is possible to bounce back from even the greatest adversities. The wisdom gained during the fall became a powerful tool, allowing him to influence both the market and society positively. The impact of his actions was visible not only in business growth, but also in the respect and admiration he earned. He proved that true wealth is not just in material possessions, but in the ability to transform difficult experiences into opportunities for learning, inspiration, and lasting change.